Alrighty, fellas and fellettes, welcome back to the Hot Damn Racing Team, and if you're new here, welcome. Alright, I want to go over the pros and cons of this Cxracing remote mount oil pump that I'm using here for my remote mount turbo. Alright, now just to get started, I do not recommend using this pump or buying this pump for a remote mount system. I recommend, if you know what you're going to do, I recommend the TurboWorks oil pump. Now, it costs quite a bit more than this pump, and that's the reason why I bought this pump to begin with. I didn't know if the turbo system was going to work, so I wanted to, stay as cheap as possible so I didn't lose too much money in the end. All right, but now that I know that it works, I'm going to go ahead and buy the TurboWorks oil pump and use this as a backup. All right, just to show you what I got going on here, what I'm using the pump for. All right, we have a remote mount turbo. This turbo is in the back of the truck here. All right, you can kind of see there. All right, so what we got going on here, there's a feed line going to the top of the turbo. The oil is draining down through here. This is a return line. Oil is filling up in here. All right, oil goes into this scavenge tube here. All right, we can see it and I can see the flow. All right, and that's why I'm using this clear system. It's been working out very well. That glass is very strong, by the way. All right, so the oil goes through here, free flows. This pump is strong enough to pull a vacuum with just air. All right, not right out of the box. I'm going to tell you how to do that, but it can do that. All right, so that's a good thing about this pump. We're not at the pros and cons yet. I'm just showing you the system. All right, so even downhill like this, the pump had pulled the oil out. That's pretty good. All right, so you got the oil going through here. The pump pulls it. All right, and then we have this fitting here is a sensor fitting. I'm not using it, although I should. This is a filter. All right, a coupler fitting. This right here is a check valve, so the oil can't come back. Oil goes this way, oil doesn't come back. Because I got this return line, goes all the way up, and then just dumps right into the motor. All right, so engine, whatever you got, want to call it. But anyway, pros and cons. All right, remember, I don't recommend this. TurboWorks is going to be the way to go as far as I've noticed, and that is what I'm going to get. All right, but pros and cons. Here's the cons. Right out of the box. All right, if you go to hook this thing up and try to run it, it's going to leak. That's all there is to it. So what I did is I took some high heat oil resistant, fuel resistant sealant. I took this plate off. Gears are inside there. Nothing's going to fall out. You could do it, when you take it apart. You don't want to do it this way. Do it upside down. Make sure it's cleaned out. And I took the screws out, took the plate off, sealed it. I left the rubber seal that's in there. And then I screwed it back together and I let it completely dry. All right, before I used it, sorry, I got a little kind of pillow here. I'm under the truck. My neck is hurting right now. I'm not gonna lie. I want to show you this right here in its entirety. All right, so I sealed it here. All right, and I got 10AN fittings. I believe they came with it. I'm not sure if I remember if I ordered some extra ones, but they're 10AN fittings. All right, 10AN hose. And I also took, they comes with some rubber fittings. I hate those. So I took those off and then I sealed it with the same sealant that I used here. Let it all dry up. So, hasn't leaked yet. I've been using it for quite a while. Ran it at temperature. I daily drive it. Let's just say that. I daily drive the truck and no issues with leaking at the pump. All right, when I did my bench testing, it leaked. So that's why I ended up sealing it. So it will leak, all right out of the box. If you seal it up, it's good to go and it'll pull vacuum with just air. You can put a balloon on this end and fill that balloon and pop it. All right, if you're sucking the air through this way. All right, so it'll pull liquid, it'll pull air, it's a pretty good pump for that. All right, another con. This is the only other con I would have to, I notice on this. It's pretty loud. All right, when the oil's hitting it, it's pretty quiet. You can still kind of hear it. You really can't hear it with my exhaust setup. All right, you got to cut out right there. You really can't hear it with my exhaust. When it's running and the oil's going through it, you can't really hear it. If there's no oil going through it, it is extremely loud. Should give you a demonstration here. I don't have my keys with me, but just believe me, it's loud. I have a video somewhere showing how loud. You know what? Actually, you could just go to the bench testing videos, and that'll show you how loud it is. But when oil's hitting it, it's not loud at all. You cannot hear it in the cab. No issues with that. So, but anyway, okay, moving on from there. That's the only cons: leak and kind of loud. But it doesn't really need to be sitting there running when the engine's not running, right? If oil's not flowing, it doesn't need to run. So it's a decent pump for that. Not recommending it, but if anyone has to have it, just remember that it needs to be sealed. All right, and if you're looking, you know, for your setup to be super quiet, right? You got super, you know, basically a stock quiet type exhaust system. This isn't gonna be a good pump for you. So, pros: pump does not get that hot. I put this heat reflector on here. It's right next to the exhaust. I do have the wrap. It still gets kind of warm, but I've noticed the pump doesn't get extremely hot. And you got around 190 to 200 degrees of oil going through it. Basically, I'm kind of guessing that just with the oil temps, you know, what I'm monitoring in the truck. So you got about, you know, you got pretty high temps going through this. High temp, if you can handle the high temps pretty well, that's a pro. All right, another pro is it can really move some oil. This thing can move some oil. I have a speed control hooked to it, because if not, it's just super soaking the oil back into the engine. That's how strong this pump is. It is a really strong pump. Really impressed with it in that manner. I have another video. I actually had to turn I got a check valve for the oil feed, and I can kind of control the oil flow coming in. I had to turn that down, but with it cranked up, this thing had no problem. You can see it. It is taking the oil out. So it's really good with that. That's it works. That's the pros. It can really take some oil out. Doesn't get that hot. If you need to reverse the pump, what I did was, you know, I'm sorry, I'm being a little quick here. There's 2 screws on the top. I don't know if we can see them here. There's 2 screws on the top. They're really long. They go all the way to the bottom. If you pull those screws out, all the way out, don't take the whole thing apart. Just pull the screws out, and you rotate the motor assembly, basically this, a 180 with the casing stationary. You know, the pump's flowing this way, turn it, now the pump's flowing this way. All right, to do that, then you just put the screws back in and tighten it down. Okay, I can feel them here. There's one here, one right here, and one right here. Take those completely out. Probably could hold it right here, spin the whole casing. The mounting and everything will spin with it. So that's pretty good. Glad I could do that because I needed to do that to mount it where I wanted to mount it. When it gets shipped to you, it's going the other way. All right. Sorry, being a little quick. Pros and cons. Okay, so to go over the cons real quick, you're gonna need to seal it here, and I'd recommend sealing it, your fittings here and here too. It's the only places you'll need to seal it. Pump is loud. It can be embarrassing if you leave it on. People notice, they're gonna wanna know if there's something wrong or what's going on with it. People ask you if you got a pump going out, all right? Not when it's running though. If oil's going, if it's getting hit with oil, if it's pulling oil, it totally shuts it up. All right, so that's the cons. Pros, it pulls the hell out of oil. It'll pull a vacuum, which is good too. You want to be able to pull a vacuum. All right, I'm on a hill right here when I park, and it'll pull that oil up into the pump. So it's pretty good. That's what you want. That's what you need. but I wouldn't recommend this pump. Just kind of, no, I really haven't seen too many, reviews of this pump being on a vehicle. Right? I haven't seen anybody, talk about sealing it up. I know they leak. No, people have problems with that. All right, it's about a $150 pump. I'll leave a link in the description. All right, I've been running it. I ran it hard a few times. I daily drive it. All right, and that is the review. That's the pros and cons that I see so far about it. That's all I really got to say about it. When it goes out, hopefully it doesn't go out, I will let you know. Hopefully I'll have that Turbo Works pump before then, and this can be a little backup, or I don't know, we'll see what I'll do with it. Hot damn, hell yeah, y'all the baddest. And get some.